What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how the Charlotte Hornets took Duke wing, guard, forward, whatever, Kon Knueppel from Duke. I like Kon Knueppel. I've said it before on this channel. I believe he has the highest floor. I believe he's already one of our better players on the team. My only thing was taking him at 4. I didn't really like that too much. I would have preferred to trade down and possibly get him. I don't know really just how much I like taking him at 4. But at the end of the day, I know he makes his team better. He wasn't my first choice, maybe not even my second choice. But at the end of the day, between VJ, Ace, Trey, and Kon, as I said plenty of times, I don't really have a problem with any of them. I would have been happy to have either one of them, even though I had my preferences. Kon, I think, immediately makes this team better. I think he already can replace a lot of guys on his team as far as just like where they are in the hierarchy of the team. I believe that, he does a lot of things we saw. Like when they lost Cooper, he kind of took over that. He was the engine for that. And I thought he was a really good player. He did a lot of things that we kind of need. He's able to move off ball. He's able to play alongside people who need the ball. So Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball. He's going to do just a lot of things. And then I know one thing I really like about Kon for us right now, and we can talk about the semantics of the pick later, but I'm just here to talk about the player. In another video, maybe we'll talk about like the whole situation. But one thing I really like about him is that he knows what to do with the basketball, and I don't think we have to rely so much on LaMelo to do absolutely everything. Because we've seen if LaMelo's off the floor, whether that be injury, whether that be he's tired, it doesn't foul trouble, it doesn't matter. It feels as though the team just doesn't know what to do. Kon, I think, alleviates that a lot. He's not your true ball handler, not your true go-to ball handler, but I do believe that he could be your secondary ball handler, and he can allow a lot of things to happen. He has good playmaking ability. He has a good feel for the game. As I mentioned, he can shoot. I think people underestimate how well he drives to the basket. I've said this in my video. It's very reminiscent of Gordon Hayward, Jimmy Butler, where it is they have this slow approach. He's able to control himself and take on contact, and that usually leads to a foul. Like, he's just really good at kind of pacing himself, understanding the game, understanding the situation, and I think that's what we need. We need smart basketball players, and he's definitely that. If you want to talk about like the semantics and all of it, once again, I feel like we could have traded down and possibly get him. I know you run the risk of not, so like I understand that too, but I don't know. I just feel like a little more should have happened, but I'm not mad at the player. I think he, like I said, automatically helps us. He's a great fit next to LaMelo, great fit next to Brandon. I know people also will talk about the defense, but if you watch his film, his defense is not as exciting as watching someone like VJ Edgecombe on defense. However, there's not too many people that get past him. Yes, your average quick, shifty guard may, obviously have an upside, but most players his size, whether they're quick for their size or not, he usually does a good job of staying in front of them. He's not going to sit there and block shots or anything like that, but he's just a good, solid defender. We don't have to worry about him ball watching. We don't have to worry about, too many of these other things. And if he does, he's a rookie, but I don't think we have to worry about that like sticking as opposed to like with some other players. I think the biggest thing of why a lot of people don't like him, or I'm not going to say don't like him, I have firm confidence that a lot of people who didn't want Kon, it wasn't necessarily they were against Kon, it was the idea of drafting a role player at 4 or not swinging for upside at 4. And I get all that, but I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a lot more than that, as he may not have been my first or probably even second necessarily option, even though I had no problem with any of the 4. I still think that there's just a lot to work with here. Once again, having a 3-point shooting system with no 3-point shooters. He is a shooter. I've said that time and time again with Kon, is that, well, not with Kon, but with the team, we have a lot of guys that can shoot. We don't have any shooters. He definitely fits that position, but then he also does a few other things as well. He's efficient on offense, whether that's just playmaking and just reading the defense. There's just a lot he can do. You can use him as a screener in some scenarios, as a pick and pop. Like, I think he's just going to be very versatile and allow himself to be I don't know the word, but like used by LaMelo. Like, he's really good at just moving off ball and finding the spots, and all he needs is his playmaker to hit him. And oftentimes a lot at Duke, it was, Sion James, Cooper Flagg, of course, Tyrese Proctor, but he was there. And he doesn't like overcompensate. If they don't give him the ball off first read, he's not going to overreact and move. He's going to stay there if he thinks that's the right thing to do, and then they eventually find him and he's open. So I really like that we are able to bring in somebody that has the small stuff of the game figured out. And as I've mentioned with Trey and Ace, guys who I felt like I wanted to see this development staff work with, you have a guy with such a high floor and he already does like things with a high IQ. I think being able to develop that as well would be just almost as beneficial as, being able to turn a guy into hopefully into a star. So there's a lot of ways he can help. I don't think he's going to take the ball from anybody. I don't think anybody needs to change how they play. He helps us with our offensive game. I know we need a lot of work on defense, but at the end of the day, my biggest thing, and I'm normally like the defense lover, like any other year, I probably would have been all over like guys like VJ Edgecombe, Ace, which I still liked Ace as I've mentioned, but with Kon, I think that my biggest thing going into this draft was I need to leave with shooters. I really didn't necessarily care, and I'm watching Kamal Malawatch get drafted, but I really didn't care where the shooting come from, as in the 4th pick, or if it was Trey Johnson or Kon, Kobe Barea in the 2nd round, like guys like that. I really didn't care too much about where the shooting come from. I just needed the shooting, because one thing I don't think can go on further and further is having a 3-point shooting system with no 3-point shooter. So I think he solves that, as I mentioned. But I really like more so the on-ball things and how those LaMelo less minutes look. Even having LaMelo kind of play off him, because I think, as I've said plenty of times before, not trying to take the ball out of LaMelo's hands, but I think he's such a good off-ball player, but we don't have anybody to really facilitate and work off that. I think Kon can do that. I think Trey Mann can do that as well. So hopefully when he comes back, we have 2 guys that can alleviate LaMelo of a lot of stuff, and I think that will hopefully lead to more time on the floor for LaMelo. So I think that this is like, to me, if we want to get into the semantics of it all, to me this pick screams we're keeping what we have together, as in the LaMelo, Brandon, and then you can add Kon to that. Like, we're keeping that little mixture together, and Shams is on TV, but I have him muted, so I don't know if I'm missing a trade or not. But either way, we're keeping that core, and we're going to try to maximize this, because I do feel like with Ace, with Trey, with those guys, you had to find like their balance. They went from being these high profile scoring guys in college, and then you're going to have to move them to the NBA and then kind of have them more off ball. Maybe you could have them lead second units, but even then, if you're trying to play meaning basketball, would you want that? Kon can kind of come in right away and give you a lot of things that you need. Doesn't turn the ball over that much. Like I said, I really, he's not just a shooter. The only thing for him, I think I would like to see him utilize that mid-range more, because I feel like the shot will fall. Free throw percentage supports it, and the 3-point shooting percentage supports it. So overall, I think this was a good pick. Like I said, I really would have thought all 4 of them were a good pick. And once again, as this may not have my top priority as far as who we're going to pick, I did want to walk away with shooting. I just felt as though Trey Johnson was the more dynamic shooter, and I really didn't care about fit. This is kind of the best of both worlds, where you still probably get a exceptional 3-point shooter, and you get someone that is a much better fit. Still, they got to figure out defensively, but that's where I hope that they go into free agency, July, and all that. Even in the 2nd round, I'm hearing stuff that they may even did Memphis. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted, but. Going to the 2nd round, and they may even go back to the 1st round, or some things that I'm hearing. So I think that overall, this is a good pick, man. I can't be mad at it. It's definitely a sure sign of winning basketball to come. That's kind of like another thing where it's not really on Kon, but for me, if you pick him, I'm expecting some moves to help support it, because I just don't see the benefit of drafting Kon, and you're not looking to just make that jump. We don't have to necessarily, the jump doesn't have to be successful right away, but it needs to be these players in place. And so I get the whole understanding of getting Kon, but then you have to slowly start, all right, this is our core, now we're just growing with him. We're still moving a lot of pieces, and I just don't know why you would get someone with such a high floor when I don't think you're ready for that. As I've mentioned, like with, and I really need to come up with a better point, but I drive these home. With Cam Johnson with the Suns and Keegan Murray with the Kings, those teams then looked to jump. They felt as though those guys were the missing piece to kind of like build what they ended up having, which the Suns ended up going to the finals. The Kings made the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years. So while that, everybody's goal is a little different, those players were key in that, jump. And I think that getting Kon is your symbol of that. We have Brandon, we have Melo. All right, now who do we have to support those guys? All right, Trey Mann, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, but we don't. After that, it's kind of it. And then maybe Grant. All right, so now we're gonna get somebody that can shoot. Now he can also handle the ball a little bit, so we don't gotta try to get another point. I think he just answers a lot of questions for us. There still may be some questions on the defensive end because, as I mentioned, he's not no point of attack defender. But I don't feel like you have to worry about him as much as people think you would. I like the pick once again. It's not my favorite pick, but I can't. It literally is a definition of them trying to go do winning basketball. It's up to Jeff Peterson and company to do the rest of the work. With the Kon pick, I feel like the draft grade is incomplete. That's kind of how I feel. Like the player himself, if we're just putting in a vacuum, I think it's a great pick. I think he does a lot of things we need. Not to mention off the court stuff where they say they were talking about his background squeaky clean. There's nothing in there. So that's something that it's part of winning. It plays a part in winning basketball. It's just a matter of okay, at what point are we ready for that? Because as of right now, I felt as though we still need talent. Because right now it's LaMelo, Brandon, and then for 2 years it's been rumored is LaMelo going to leave? Is LaMelo going to leave? I think that this puts us in a sticky situation if LaMelo were to leave. But if you're drafting Kon, I feel as though they have a plan. I just don't see the point of drafting Kon when you don't have a plan. They could prove me wrong. And it is what it is. Maybe I shouldn't even believe them, but it to me, it just doesn't make sense unless you have a plan. If you have a plan and you follow up with it, Kon becomes, the more we do in this offseason as far as trying to build a competent team, the better the pick will look. Right now, it's just more about where our team currently is more than it is about Kon. If you went to the Sixers, and not to say VJ's not a good pick for them, if you went to the Sixers, that would have been a great pick. Like I said, a team defender, a guy that can, do some things and help Jared McCain off ball. Tyrese Maxey, work off ball, help with Joel Embiid, can shoot, can stretch the floor. Like I said, and it just plays a lot of smart basketball for a team ready to win. If we were in that tier, ready to make those moves, I would feel so much different about it. But it's just me thinking the worst of the team and saying, I don't see how we become competitive anytime soon. If you draft Kon, you got to be working towards it soon. And the last thing I'll leave y'all with is one thing I saw with the Oklahoma City Thunder in their parade. I believe it was Isaiah Joe, if I'm not mistaken, and he said that I was drafted in the 59th pick in the second round in 2021, and in that season we only won 21 games, 25 games, something like that. But he said those people who were there for that terrible season were there for the end, there for now. We're not winning the championship. And I say that to say, at some point, the Hornets need to get into position where this is who we're about to go to the next level with. Now it's just a matter of having them get ready to be there. I think LaMelo's already there, and we're talking just to make the playoff. I think LaMelo's there. Brandon's a little iffy just because he just missed the whole season. If you were to tell me to project if he'll be ready based off his rookie season, I would say. And I think Kon is even ready. Obviously, he has to get used to the NBA as a whole, but I think he's ready. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. There's going to be a lot to talk about in the next coming days. I've been missing the draft because I haven't really been paying attention because I've been recording, so I don't know if anything has happened while I've recording. But if the Hornets trade back into the first round, we'll talk about it, and then we'll just talk about some additional thoughts of the first round in general, and then also going into tomorrow. So a lot of content coming your way. It's just a matter of what I'm going to be talking about is the thing. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below about Kon. Like I said, I completely get why everybody may be against him. He wasn't even my choice. But to me, Kon screams winning basketball on the horizon. It's up to the team to do the rest. It's not his fault. You know what I mean? He's going to do what you drafted him to do. I have no doubt in my mind that's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of, are you going to set him up for success or set him up for failure? Because what I do think is as a guy who played, he played at Duke. And they had such a good team, and Duke is a well-oiled machine. Even as a Carolina fan, I can admit, Duke, they're always a well-oiled machine. Going from that to going to the Hornets and then losing season after season, it wears on you, and then that's how you kind of end up in the situation we're in now. So if you're going to draft Kon, just be ready to make moves to just get better. I think that's all we're saying. You don't have to jump to the finals. Just show us some progression. If we play hard all season, our key guys are able to play. We just missed the postseason, then so be it. At least it's a step in the right direction. Okay, we got Kon, a guy we know we can shoot. Is going to raise our 3-point percentage. We got LaMelo. We got Brandon. Like, we're stepping in the right direction. We're just not good enough yet. You know, Kon's a rookie. Brandon's coming off an injury. So it's like, okay, next season, I want that kind of improvement. I'm not saying we have to make the finals, but I want some kind of improvement to hold my hat on. And it's just, I think it's a disservice to Kon, and it's a disservice to the fans if you're not willing to make those moves. And it doesn't have to be right away, but at some point you have to acknowledge it within the next year. At minimum, but I really prefer, well, at maximum, I should say, at minimum, I really prefer something to happen this offseason to just, once again, just get a taste of what it's like to play meaningful basketball past December. But once again, I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.